to use your full body with tracing. Tracing can be done with waving, or you could be doing it with tutting or other styles too. So I want to focus mainly on tracing waves for now, and I might go into trace tutting in another video, but for now this is just about waves. So where to start is, I want to start with the basics, but try not to get stuck too much on the basics for now. But the basics you may have seen in any other videos would have been the basic trace waves, which would be tracing from one arm to the other arm. That's the first trace wave most people learn. Maybe you would have been taught how to trace a wave to your knee, like so. Or maybe even you would have been taught more liquid style tracing with liquid, which would have been the circular style tracing like this. Or maybe even you were taught how to do that same trace wave, but all the way around in a circle like that. They're the most basic forms of tracing that I see in tutorials, so I'll try not to go too much over those, and I'll talk about the other basics that not many people really are familiar with. So the basics that I know for tracing would be your four corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, or it will look like this, like that. You can also do your basic tracing like from these positions here, which would be like this, which you've seen a lot of people do. But I'll start with the four corners. From the four corners, this gives you the option to not only wave down to there, but you trace the wave. So you start a trace wave just like that. And you can also do the same thing around in a circle. So if you were to trace the wave down to here, then you continue the tracing all the way up. So the other form of tracing I see is contouring, and the contour just means the outline of your body, or the contour of your body. This is usually done in liquid, which they would be tracing the lines of your body like so. That is more the contouring, or you may have seen contouring done like this. Contouring, you can get pretty advanced with contouring depending on what your body position is and the poses that you're doing. Or with the contours, I usually like to use this one from here. So if you were to wave down the knee here, you can contour all the way around, you see, and then you can play around with the leg. Then you can, and from there you can, change the body positioning. Just like that. So contours give you quite a bit of options and creativity. Or you may have seen people do like the whole body wave like that type of contour from the side, which they're all cool as well. So the next thing I'll talk about would be perspective with waves, which Wave-O-Matic already covered in his videos as well. But perspective just means the angles, almost like the angles that you're looking at. So if you were to wave front on like this, that's one perspective. That's another perspective. Now you're kind of more side on. And that's one way to change the perspective of a wave. You can also do this if you were to, say with this basic trace wave down to your hips. Then you can kind of turn, bring the wave back up sidewards, turn back around the other way, turn again. So the perspective is pretty important as well. You can even take that perspective behind your back, like I showed you in the previous video. With the perspective, also same with the knees. Okay, so I think you get the idea of perspective, and I won't go over that too much for now. Continuous motion, okay? I'll talk about continuous motion with tracing, because I feel like that is one of the most important things to go over, is continuous motion. So continuous motion just means where the last point finishes on your body, the next point starts. And this is pretty hard to understand unless you get a visual representation, like a visual demonstration of what it actually looks like and how to do it. So if you were to wave to your elbow, I'll show you like this. Now your elbow is the point of continuous motion. So like if you would wave here, you see how that point is where you can then move from. But points can be your wrist, it can be your elbows, whether it's like that. It could be your shoulder, so if you were to wave to your shoulder, you can even go all the way around just like that. Or what you can do is, if you were to wave to your shoulder here, now your shoulder continues the wave. Just like that. Okay? So continuous motion is just using that last point wherever your wave finishes to start your next wave. The way I would like to show you is you can add turns from each different point, like I was doing just before. If you wave to your chest, just like this, you can turn your chest. And from every point, you can then do something different with it. Okay, so you can just stop and then change hands from any point. And that's kind of the idea of continuous motion, and that will allow you to be the most creative with your waves, because then you can literally do anything at all from there. Okay? Continuous motion It could be even just passing a wave and then starting a new wave and moving that last point around. You don't necessarily have to start your next wave from where the point ends, because you can move that point all the way around you. Just like if you were to wave to this hand here, now you can throw that point around. Now the point has changed because I've thrown the point. Boom. Okay, so that's another way you can use it. You can also use continuous motion from the same ground positions here that I showed you. So if you were to wave down here, now you've got the options to go into other styles besides waving, like threading, which if you want to bring your knees back, then you can thread. Or if you're in a cross foot position again, here, now from your knee, now you can, you see, you can go into all different styles from there. You could do heaps of different stuff, turn around, change perspective again. Okay, tracing with your elbows, alright? Instead of just using your hands to trace, you can use your elbows to trace. You may have seen people do basic trace wave like that with their elbows. That's the most basic one you see. But however, you can also, you can trace just like this, or you could be like tracing like that. You could be tracing like this. Boom. You could be tracing up here like, and then it's not quite tracing, but you can also use your elbows to steer the wave again. You know what I mean? Just like that. Or even like that type of thing. So your elbows are pretty useful in creating waves, steering waves, tracing waves. Okay. Connecting waves, alright? So if you were to connect an actual wave, connecting is how to join one wave to another wave. Sorry, that's just the car out the front. Okay, so connecting a wave would be similar to continuous motion. So if you were to wave again back down to your knee, like this, now your hand, see your hand is connected to this point here, which allows you to then continue the wave on. So I'll show you again. And then you can even so that's how you kind of connect waves. Connecting waves is it's a little bit of continuous motion, but also transferring one hand to another hand, or changing one knee to the other knee, one leg to the other leg. So if you want to swap legs, one way you can swap legs is you can do this type of thing. So imagine your knees go like that. It's almost like that illusion here. You're switching legs just like that. You can also do the knee rolls into that. Connecting a wave could be using your leg like this. So now you see? So that's connecting. And connecting is another thing. You can be pretty creative with connecting, alright? So not just changing your legs, but changing your hands. So like I said, throwing the wave from hand to hand is considered connecting. Another way of connecting would be, like if you were to wave to your elbow here, boom. You see the change right there? The change in wave happens when you, boom, hit this hand. It's like that. If you were to wave here, boom, hit this wave, boom. It's hard to explain, but it's like a continuous motion basically, alright? So it's that point, boom, where your other waves start. Like with your elbows, if you were to wave to this elbow, now you can even connect the waves just using your elbows like that, alright? So connecting waves is a good one, alright? So there's multiple ways you can do this. You can do it from a threading position. Like if you were to wave here, boom. And the threading, because your arms are now crossed over, you see now you can just instantly start tracing. You could also use your elbows like that. Alright? Boom, boom, boom. And the most basic way of swapping hands is obviously, it's like that continuous motion here that I showed you with the contouring. Or well, not contouring, I mean the basic waves, alright? So it's just, if you finish a wave at your fingertips, that gives you the option to obviously continue the wave into your next hand. Wave, just like that. But then again, you can also continue waves, or I should say, almost like another basic position for waving would be these positions like here. Alright? You see? If you wave here like this, wave on top, then from there you can even swap hands. Okay? Now another thing with tracing is understand body positioning, alright? So just like I showed you with this here, you can do it like, see this square motion? It's almost like the box type that you see. This is good for waving, okay? So if you that allows you to trace different angles of your body. So you can turn the body with it, just like this. Okay? So if I'm here, I wave here, you can also do that. So when you think about your arms going like this and like this, while your arms here, you can basically keep getting creative with that. So that's another good body positioning right there. Body positioning is really important with waves, okay? That's going to make the difference with your waves by a lot. So I'll show you this same position again here, but now imagine, I'll show you this position here, okay? It's like a right angle with your arm. This right angle is going to allow you to not only trace up like this, but you can also trace down, trace up, just like this. Or you could even trace up like this. Okay? And then once it gets a little bit more complicated is you start going behind your actual head. So I'll show you again. Up like this, and now you can even start with your arms like that. You see, now you've got this whole space above your head to actually start waving. Okay, so try and play around with above the head. These angles, you look at the lines of your body, okay? That's a line, that's a line. These are all lines, like with your tracing and stuff too. So if you like, basically, you see? So that's just a little quick demonstration on using the lines as well. The lines apply with these types of waves, okay? So you're using your wrist lines, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of people do by now. Alright? And you see, I'm just changing the lines. That's all I'm doing, is I'm just changing the direction of the lines each time. Whether it's by using the wrist, because now you get two lines. You've got this line here and this line here. Boom, boom. It's two. Okay, so some extra things that I would like to go over with waving. Just a few more ways to switch waves with your legs, okay? So I taught you this one where you can switch your legs just like by using that motion of using your knees. Once again, you can use your boogaloo rolls to also switch knees, like your knee rolls, okay? Now you can also use threading, okay, to switch your knees. If you were to, say, trace a wave, so, okay, yeah, so if you were to trace a wave down to your knees, I don't know, say for example you were doing this tracing down here, now see this, you can use this arm here to grab the other knee, alright? Well, I'll show you again. Trace the wave down. Boom. Like that, alright? So threading kind of allows you to switch knees. Just like that, alright? Just like if you're in the same position here where you could go boom, 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 boom. It's almost like a pendulum going just like that, okay? With your knees, boom. Same thing. Alright. So that's your knees. Now you can use leg threads, so not your hand threads, the leg threads, okay? So if you were to actually wave down your knee, down your leg, sorry, just like so, now you can step through. See how you step through this arm, and now you've also swapped legs again. See? Just using that motion. Alright? So whether you're going to actually thread forwards, or if you're going to thread backwards, like step back, there are two different options of threading with your legs like that. Alright? Now taking the waves to the ground again, or I showed you in the last video where it was wave down to the body, way down to the leg. Now you're just simply using the ground to swap legs, just like that, okay? But from there, you can also do this, okay? So, if you were to wave down to the ground here, now you can just kick. Alright? Boom. So it's just using that leg where you step in front. Stepping in front to swap legs, alright?